Well, hey guys, what's up?
Welcome to youth group
Right?
on the internet.
Oh my goodness, good afternoon.
Or you could be watching this on like Tuesday, so happy Tuesday.
Exactly. At whatever point in
Yeah.
time, we are here in the youth group. It feels, in the youth space at Segan, it feels weird.
It's a little empty. We're missing a couple of, I don't know, like 40 middle schoolers,
Yeah.
20-something high schoolers.
Yeah, it's oddly and eerily quiet.
But, I mean, not so quiet because Connor's voice just kind of fills up the whole room. So it's not that quiet in here.
It's it's really exciting. We want to come to you weekly to continue to meet, to continue to bring you some content, to continue to tell you about Jesus. And look, we're in week 3 of this series, Know God.
It totally feels like week 6.
It feels like week 6,
but it's actually just week 3.
and it does. And again, so the oddities continue because, as we said, it's really bizarrely quiet in here because you guys love to talk. In fact, you probably would be talking right now, and I can just see you right there of who I would actually talk to, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But we love that you guys are so talkative, mostly, and are never without something to say. Austin, what's something that you love talking about?
I don't know if any of you know this, but I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. Unlike some people who like the Patriots until Tom Brady
Tampa
leaves.
Bay!
But I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. So if you even come up to me and say Dallas Cowboys at any point you see me, I will go on a 3-hour rant as to why they're the best team in the NFL.
We don't have 3 hours. We don't not have 3
Okay,
hours.
not 3
today.
hours.
That's not happening. But yeah, and I have always loved going to shows. Rachel and I's first date was to a Christian concert. We go to music concerts, worship venues. We love just visiting other churches. We love going to concerts. I will talk music to you all day long. And regardless of whether it's sports, music, whatever it is, we love talking about things that we love. And that's just true for everyone, right? And I think that we want other people to experience the things that we love as well. One of the things that I took right up front when I got married, Rachel loved a band called New Kids on the Block. And I say love, she still loves them. They're like the One Direction before One Direction was One Direction. She's seen them like 6 times. And right after we got married, floor seats, middle, all the way up, New Kids on the Block, so singing, dancing, all the just right,
all the bass, all the
was
sweat,
just the loudest concert ever. But she loves them, and I wanted to experience that with her. And I got payback years later when I brought her to a Foo Fighters concert. And I mean, she hates the Foo Fighters, but she was willing to go to share that experience with me, something that I loved so much about. Now, here's the deal. Rachel knows nothing about music. She doesn't know anything about music other than, a little bit about music, but she doesn't need to know all the things about music to talk about music and talk about the bands that she loves. To talk about the experience that she loves and for us to have that together. And so here's the deal. Again, the main point is this. You don't have to know everything to talk about something, especially something that you love. And in fact, though, we're going to talk about that because when we've talked about God, we've talked about what we talk about God, we've spent a couple weeks on how to know God better. Week 1 was creation. Yeah. I was going to say last week. The last time we met was talking to God, helps us know God better. And the more we talk about something, also the more familiar we become with it as well. And the same is true about God. The more we know about God, the more we can talk about God. The more we talk about God, the more that we know God. And that's a cycle that works for us. Yeah. And yet, I know that the reality is that a lot of us just don't talk about God. We'd rather not say anything at all. And for many different reasons, we don't talk about God.
Yeah, one of those reasons is you might not know what to say. I mean, whether it's Connor and myself, it could be Pastor Kevin, it could be Pastor Andrew, and you may feel like we get up on stage and we know all the right words to say, and we say them so well, but you might not know what to say, and so it's kind of hard to start that conversation and telling people about God because you just might not know what to say.
Yeah, and you just might be awkward. I mean, some of us are just awkward not saying anything at all, much less once we open our mouths, and then things get really, really awkward. So you might just find yourself awkward talking about God.
And that awkwardness might come from just not knowing all the information. I mean, we're talking about lots of stuff. God created the universe. That's a ton of stuff to talk about. And if we don't have all the information, we may not feel comfortable answering some of those questions or even just talking about them.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of homework at home right now, and a lot of first grade is what I have before me with Lincoln. And I feel like we treat God like a math problem, where we have to know all the right numbers in the equation to know the right answer before we can say anything at all. And that's just not the case. And the fact is that we don't need to be afraid about talking about God if we don't know all the answers. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, so one of the cool things, and we're just going to start off here, and hopefully this just makes you feel really, really comfortable, is that it's better to share who you know than what you know. It's a lot easier and a lot better to share relationships than it is sometimes just to share facts. And what we're going to dive into today are two guys, Peter and John. We're going to be in Acts. It's going to be chapter 4, verse 13. But Peter and John, we can say they weren't the brightest tools in the shed. They were intelligent in their own fields. Like, for instance, Peter was a fisherman. He knew everything about fishing, but when it comes to telling people about God, he wasn't the smartest person in the room. And so what was interesting is the people who were the smartest people in the room, the teachers and the leaders, they said this about him in Acts chapter 4, verse 13. It says, when they saw the courage of Peter and John and realized that they were unschooled and ordinary men, they were astonished and they took note that these men had been with Jesus. I want to focus in on that ordinary men part. They weren't someone special. They were just people who had an experience with Jesus. And because they got to experience life with Jesus, they were able to talk about Jesus. And because they knew Jesus, they were able to talk about God as well. And what's funny is they didn't let the fear of being uneducated or having all the right answers stop them from telling people about who God was. It'd be kind of cool to be as confident as Peter and John were, because they were standing on steps preaching to hundreds, maybe thousands of people. And a lot of the time we think, oh, if I just had a better understanding of everything, then I would be able to share more. But really, it's just having a better understanding of two things. The first one is you don't need to know everything about something to talk about it. I don't know everything about music. I don't know everything about movies, but those are two things that I enjoy talking about. He knows a lot more than I do, but it doesn't mean that we can't have a conversation about our favorite bands, our favorite musics. But the great thing is when you focus on the who and you don't focus on the what, if you don't know how the world was made, just talk about who made it. If you don't know how Jesus saves, just talk about who saves us. And if you don't know about all the bad stuff that happens, because we feel like there's a lot of bad stuff that happens, if we don't know why all that bad stuff happens, just talk about who never leaves us.
We just spent, several weeks in our Worlds Apart series, right? Where we talked and encouraged y'all and us to ask questions, to present our questions and our doubts, with the understanding that we can present those things to God and one another as long as we stand assured on who Jesus is in the resurrection. We can ask any question that we want to. We can speak about anything that we need to as long as we rest on the foundation of that relationship with Jesus Christ and the fact that he lived, he died, he rose from the dead. That's our firm foundation. And that gives each and every one of us something to talk about. Because if you don't know what to talk about, then talk about what God has done in your life. Share your story about what God has done. That's why we do bizarre, crazy, silly things at youth group. We go online. We try to do all these things so that you can have an experience that allows you to talk about what God is doing in your life. That's why we encourage you to, read your Bible, to pray, to listen to worship music from a Spotify playlist or whatnot, so that you can have an experience with God. It gives you a personal story to share with someone else about what Jesus has done in your life.
And what's cool is talking about God won't just help others know better, but what we want you to walk away with is talking about God helps us know him better. Because sometimes talking about God and what he's done in our lives brings up some questions, and we get to dive deeper into who God is, and that just helps us know him better. So in this weird world of the internet, whether you're on Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, all that fun stuff, we want to ask you a question. We want you to share an experience that you've had with God that you would want to share with someone else.
Yeah.
The cool thing about this space is that you can just scroll on down. There's a comment section. You can type a couple things and just share a story about what God's done in your life, because that is an awesome way to encourage other people around you, but also just to help you connect better when it comes to your understanding of who God is.
So look, we hope this has been helpful. We want to do it again. So, be on the lookout. We'll post updates. You'll see us online again. But thanks so much for tuning in. Share with us those stories. And y'all, we'll see you next time we do this.
Next week.
Yes.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.